Well, the Grand Canyon National Park is seeking public input on a proposed increase in camping fees.
Officials are investigating after a 33-year-old man fell to his death this week while touring the Grand Canyon, walking across the viewing platform.
The Grand Canyon has long captivated explorers, scientists, and indigenous communities with its breathtaking beauty and rich geological history. But beneath its awe-inspiring cliffs and expansive vistas lies a series of discoveries that will forever change the way we look at this part of the world. While some discoveries inspire awe and amazement, others are proving to be startling. Today, we'll journey through the canyon's most shocking discoveries and explore a series of secrets that can terrify the whole world. Wondering about the Grand Canyon discovery that has terrified the whole world? Well, let's get started with the exploration. Number 15. Mapping the Grand Canyon. In 2012, Google embarked on a groundbreaking project to bring the breathtaking vistas of the Grand Canyon to its Street View service. But they couldn't just send their Street View cars to the Grand Canyon. Instead, equipped with specially designed trekker backpacks, Google's team took on the challenging terrain of the Grand Canyon, each carrying nearly 40 pounds of equipment, including 15 cameras that captured high-definition, 360-degree images every 2.5 seconds. The journey was both a technical and physical feat, as the team traversed iconic trails such as the steep Bright Angel Trail, capturing not only the canyon's vastness but also its nuanced beauty and dramatic cliffs. Unlike mapping city streets, which are straightforward and relatively accessible, the Grand Canyon demanded that the team navigate narrow paths, steep inclines, and uneven, rocky terrain. Over a 10-mile journey down to the Colorado River, the crew maneuvered through some of the canyon's most challenging sections, all to ensure a seamless virtual experience for viewers around the globe. This effort was part of Google's larger ambition to expand Street View beyond conventional roads, allowing people to explore far-flung destinations from the comfort of their homes. The success of the Grand Canyon project opened the door to even more ambitious ventures, with Google Street View later capturing other remote and iconic locations like Mount Everest and the Amazon rainforest. Interesting, right? Well, it's about to become a whole lot more shocking than this. Number 14. Drying up of the Colorado River. The Colorado River, a vital water source for millions of people and ecosystems across the southwestern United States and northern Mexico, is facing a crisis. Originating in the Rocky Mountains, it stretches across 1,450 miles, winding through deep canyons and rugged landscapes, with its waters carving out the majestic Grand Canyon and nourishing vast wetlands near its delta in Mexico. Historically, the Colorado River has been a lifeline, providing water for cities like Los Angeles, Phoenix, and San Diego, as well as supporting agriculture and recreational activities like kayaking and boating along its route. However, scientists and environmentalists have now sounded the alarm. The river is at risk of drying up, threatening not only the natural beauty of regions like the Grand Canyon, but also the livelihoods of millions who depend on its waters. For decades, large dams, like the Glen Canyon Dam, have diverted the river's flow into the rapidly expanding cities of the western U.S. The Glen Canyon Dam, built over 50 years ago, created the man-made Lake Powell, a reservoir that was originally designed to provide hydropower. However, with water levels dropping to historic lows, the lake can no longer produce the electricity it once did, and more importantly, it threatens to disrupt the flow of water downstream. Environmentalists argue that the Glen Canyon Dam, with its outdated infrastructure, is increasingly becoming a hindrance to the Colorado River's natural flow. In particular, the plumbing system of the dam, which was designed decades ago, is unable to manage the reduced water levels. If the situation continues, water may be unable to flow through the river at all, severely impacting the water supply for millions of people, disrupting agriculture, and endangering the ecosystem that relies on the river. Lake Mead, the largest reservoir in the U.S. by water capacity, is also showing signs of strain. While boaters can still be seen enjoying the lake in Nevada and Arizona, the dramatic drop in water levels is visible. As water levels fall, it not only jeopardizes the water supply for human consumption, but also impacts the delicate balance of plant and animal life in the region. To address the crisis, environmental groups have called on politicians and policymakers to take immediate action, they propose significant upgrades to the Glen Canyon Dam's plumbing system, hoping that modernizing its infrastructure will allow for more efficient water management and prevent the river from drying up completely. The river's fate, along with the survival of the Grand Canyon and other ecosystems that depend on its flow, hangs in the balance. But the environmental worries don't end there. Number 13. Uranium contamination threat. In recent years, concerns over uranium contamination have cast a long shadow over the Grand Canyon. The issue took center stage when news broke about uranium mining operations perilously close to the canyon, where millions of gallons of toxic water had already leaked into surrounding aquifers. These aquifers feed directly into the Colorado River, a crucial water source for over 25 million people in cities like Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles. For these communities, the risks are high. Uranium mining poses a severe contamination threat as radioactive elements and other hazardous chemicals can seep into the water, especially in regions near fault lines or natural water pathways. Water can carry pollutants from uranium mines deep into aquifers that supply water to local indigenous communities and visitors. Studies indicate that these intricate water flows complicate efforts to predict contamination paths, leaving open the potential for widespread environmental damage and health risks. This complexity makes uranium mining in the region akin to a ticking time bomb. Abandoned mines throughout the area have already left radioactive scars, with nearby streams and water sources now deemed unsafe. Even hikers are warned about potentially contaminated waterways, and local communities face the added threat of airborne radioactive dust from mining activities. This dust can drift over nearby areas, impacting air quality and increasing health risks. Efforts to protect the Grand Canyon and surrounding areas from further uranium contamination are ongoing, with environmental advocates pushing for stricter regulations or outright bans on mining near such sensitive regions. Yet the battle between economic interests and environmental preservation is intense. Hopes remain that swift action can prevent irreversible harm to one of the planet's most treasured natural landmarks and the millions who depend on its waters. Number 12. Ancient fossilized track. A find of a lifetime presented itself in the Grand Canyon when a large rock tumbled down a cliff near the famous Bright Angel Trail. Geologist Alan Krill, on a hiking trip with his students, noticed unusual markings on the fallen rock. These were distinct impressions that looked remarkably like footprint. Intrigued by these unusual markings, Krill took photographs and shared them with his colleague and renowned paleontologist Stephen Rowland, who has a history of groundbreaking work, including excavating ancient hunting grounds. Upon examining the images, Rowland recognized the markings as fossilized tracks that could potentially change our understanding of vertebrate history. Rowland's initial analysis of the tracks suggested that they were over 313 million years old, making them the earliest known evidence of vertebrates in the Grand Canyon. These tracks are believed to belong to an amniote, a creature that laid hard-shelled eggs, suggesting that animals in the region had already adapted to life on land millions of years ago. The rock from which the fossil was dislodged belongs to the monocline formation, a sandstone layer dating back approximately 314 million years, whose unique composition of ancient sand dunes helped preserve these footprints for such an extended period. Upon further examination, Rowland noted that the footprints appeared to depict two reptiles crossing the rock, each moving in a distinct lateral sequence gait. This gait, where the animal's left rear footsteps with the left front, followed by the right rear and right front, is typical of tetrapods or four-limbed vertebrates that include today's reptiles and amphibians. Rowland observed that one set of tracks seemed to belong to an animal about a foot long, which moved with a unique sideways stepping pattern. However, whether these were two separate animals or a single animal passing twice at different times remains uncertain. Number 11. A strange bug. Among the diverse wildlife inhabiting the Grand Canyon, one of the most unusual creatures is the Meloe megacephalus, a type of blister beetle often called the Megra beetle, known for its striking red and black coloration. Adapted to the canyon's arid, rocky landscape, this beetle can be found perched on hardy, drought-resistant plants that thrive in the dry, sun-baked environment. Its bold colors aren't just for show, they signal a warning to would-be predators of the potent chemical it secretes, known as cantharidin. Cantharidin, the same compound that gives blister beetles their infamous name, is a powerful irritant that can cause blistering or even chemical burns if it comes into contact with skin. For the Megra beetle, this toxic secretion is a highly effective defense mechanism, deterring predators and keeping threats at bay. Remarkably, the chemical is so potent that if consumed in large amounts by livestock via contaminated plants or feed, it can be fatal. While it might sound small in stature, this beetle plays an essential role in the canyon's ecosystem. By feeding on plants, it helps regulate the growth of certain hardy species. However, as fascinating as this beetle may be, its presence is best appreciated from a respectful distance, especially considering the risk of its potent defenses. This remarkable little insect serves as a reminder of the wild, intricate, and sometimes dangerous balance that defines life in the Grand Canyon's rugged wilderness. Number 10. Disappearing bodies. In 2021, search teams working along the canyon's south rim found an unidentified body lying 430 feet below Yavapai Point. Eventually identified as 45-year-old Hungarian Gabor Bertzi Tomczanyi, his body was located after his family reported him missing in Las Vegas, leading authorities to his abandoned car and belongings at the park's visitor center. However, this discovery was only the beginning of an unsettling sequence of events. As rescuers scoured the area, they found another body nearby, concealed by the rugged terrain and camouflaged within the natural surroundings. This second body was identified as Scott Walsh, a man who had vanished mysteriously 6 years earlier, last seen boarding a shuttle bus at the South Rim in 2015. Walsh's remains had lain undisturbed and undetected for years. The macabre revelations raised pressing questions. How could these bodies have gone unnoticed for so long in such a popular national park? Recent geological findings provided some insight. The Grand Canyon, often described as a layer cake of geological history, holds millions of years of rock formations, yet its intricate, labyrinthine structure contains countless hidden gaps and crevices. These geological black holes may act as natural hiding places, revealing bodies, artifacts, or other items only when erosion, rockfalls, or human activity alter their positions. These unsettling findings reinforce the notion that the Grand Canyon is more than a tourist destination. It's a vast landscape harboring many secrets. Well, the weird stuff doesn't end here. Number 9. Bigfoot in Arizona. With its rugged trails and uncharted wilderness, the Grand Canyon has long been the setting for eerie tales and mysterious sightings. Among its most chilling legends is that of Arizona's own Bigfoot-like creature, the Mogollon Monster. This elusive figure, said to be over 7 feet tall, is described as having shaggy reddish-brown or black fur and eyes that glow ominously red in the night. Sightings report a pungent odor, a rank combination of decaying fish and skunk musk. The legend stretches back over a century, with the first reported encounter occurring as early as 1903. Since then, tales have emerged from all walks of life, from early cowboys stumbling upon it during nighttime camps, to contemporary hikers catching fleeting glimpses of a towering, hairy figure moving silently through dense forest shadows. These accounts are often accompanied by reports of eerie, unearthly cries echoing through the canyons at night. While skeptics argue that the Mogollon Monster is merely a myth born of superstition and the canyon's wild beauty, believers note the consistency of reports and the strange phenomena that have long haunted the region. Stories of the creature have been passed down through generations, whispered around campfires, and shared among local communities, cementing its place as one of Arizona's most enduring legends. Whether the Mogollon Monster is a living creature or simply folklore, its legacy in the Grand Canyon's lore remains as vivid as the trails and forests where it is said to roam. Number 8. Prehistoric findings in Grand Canyon caves. Deep inside the canyon's caves, remnants of plants and animals from the Ice Age have been remarkably preserved, offering a glimpse into the region's past and the creatures that once roamed its rugged terrain. Some of these caves are narrow and treacherous, requiring explorers to crawl on all fours to enter, while others are spacious enough to spin freely without touching the walls. Regardless of size, These caves served as perfect habitats for a variety of animals, including wood rats, bats, birds, and even now extinct species such as the mountain goat and the giant ground sloth. Arizona's dry climate has played a crucial role in preserving these ancient remains. One of the most significant discoveries came from Rampart Cave, located at the far western end of the Grand Canyon at an elevation of over 1,700 feet. In 1936, scientists stumbled upon several mounds of dung scattered across the cave floor. These dung piles, as it turns out, were the work of a now extinct sloth species, roughly 9 feet long and weighing around 500 pounds, that had been gone for over 10,000 years. Radiocarbon dating confirmed that these dung piles had been in the cave for between 11,000 to 40,000 years. The plant matter found within the dung provided further clues about the dietary habits of these ancient creatures and about the types of plants that flourished in the region during the Ice Age. Some of the plants identified, such as the globe mallow, Mormon tea, saltbush, catclaw, cacti, reeds, and yucca, are still present in the Grand Canyon area today, but they were once part of a vastly different landscape. In addition to the sloth dung, the cave revealed other fascinating discoveries. Neatly piled wood rat nests, composed of plant materials, served as another form of record, preserving the remains of the plants and animals that had been undisturbed in the canyon for millennia. Among the most extraordinary findings were the mummified remains of bats, including condors, whose tissues were so well preserved that even the skin and fine details of the bones remained intact. These birds had likely fed on megafauna, or large animals that became extinct around the end of the Pleistocene epoch. The extinction of these giant creatures ultimately led to the demise of the condors as their primary food source disappeared. These discoveries not only deepen our understanding of the animals and plants that once populated the Grand Canyon, but also offer a vivid window into the ecological changes that have occurred over thousands of years. Number 7. The Thunderbird. Among the most awe-inspiring figures of Native American mythology is the Thunderbird, a colossal bird revered for its command over the skies and feared for the raw power it wields. Spanning various tribes from the Pacific Northwest to the Great Plains, the Thunderbird is depicted as a creature with wings so vast they fill the heavens, with each beat generating thunder that reverberates across the land. This magnificent bird is said to wield lightning itself, either from its eyes or beak, sparking storms and bringing much-needed rain to the earth below. In Native American lore, the Thunderbird is more than a stormbringer. It is a guardian spirit, tasked with defending humans and the natural world from evil forces. Tales from the Lakota, Ojibwe, and Algonquin tribes speak of the Thunderbird as a noble protector, striking down malevolent spirits and creatures that threaten the harmony of the world. Some versions of the myth even suggest that the Thunderbird's mighty wing beats shaped the very landscape, carving mountains and valleys into the earth as it soared above. The Thunderbird's enduring legacy is etched deeply into Native American art, where its image frequently appears in totem poles, ceremonial regalia, and pottery. Bold, abstract depictions on totems with their elongated wings and fearsome expressions emphasize the Thunderbird's status as a totem of strength, guardianship, and the divine force of nature. Its influence extends into modern culture, where the Thunderbird continues to inspire films, books, and art, reimagined yet still holding its roots in ancient traditions. While this may have sounded superstitious, this next entry is sure to send chills down your spine. Number 6. Route 666. Known ominously as the Devil's Highway, the U.S. Route 666 has long haunted travelers with its sinister tales and treacherous stretch of road cutting through the stark landscapes of New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. Established in 1926 as a spur of the iconic Route 66, Route 666 bore a name entwined with foreboding numerology. Naturally, the number of the beast immediately spurred local superstitions, painting the highway as a cursed route and amplifying its allure for thrill seekers and ghost story enthusiasts. As fate would have it, the ominously named Route 666 became infamous for unsettling incidents and eerie experiences. Many motorists traversing the road claimed to encounter shadowy phenomena, such as spectral hellhounds running alongside cars, red-eyed and relentless, only to vanish into the desert sands. Equally disquieting were accounts of phantom semi-trucks barreling down the road as if aiming to drive unsuspecting travelers off the highway. Stretching through isolated desert and sacred Native American lands, notably the region near Shiprock, the route's reputation grew darker as locals and travelers alike added their experiences to the tales of ghostly apparitions. Drivers would vanish without a trace and then later reappear in a daze with no memory of their journey or time lost. Perhaps the most enduring tale is that of a young girl in a white dress who appears at the roadside only to dissolve into thin air before onlookers' eyes. Despite efforts to quell the fears by renaming the road to US Route 491 in 2003, the legends have not faded. Strange occurrences persist, with travelers still reporting eerie experiences and a sense that the Devil's Highway in spirit endures as a place where reality and folklore continue to blur, where the desolate landscape keeps its secrets close and its phantoms nearer. We're not done with the scary stuff just yet. Number 5. Tarantula hawk wasp. The tarantula hawk wasp, native to the deserts of the southwestern United States and extending down through South America, is one of nature's most fascinating and fearsome insect predators. With an average length of 2 inches, these wasps boast an impressive black body contrasted with vibrant orange wings, giving them a striking, almost intimidating appearance. Despite their ominous look, these creatures are surprisingly docile toward humans unless provoked. If they feel cornered, however, they are more than capable of delivering one of the most excruciating stings in the insect world. The female tarantula hawk targets tarantulas, some of the largest and most robust spiders on Earth. With remarkable precision, the wasp uses its long, powerful stinger to paralyze the spider without killing it. Immobilized yet very much alive, the tarantula is then dragged to a burrow where the wasp deposits a single egg on the spider's abdomen. Once the egg hatches, the larva begins to consume the tarantula from within. While the sting of a tarantula hawk is not typically dangerous to humans, it is infamous for its extreme pain. It has been described as instantaneous, electrifying, and totally debilitating. Fortunately, this intense sensation only lasts for a few minutes and poses no long-term threat, but it's an experience most would prefer to avoid. Admired from afar, the tarantula hawk's blend of stunning beauty and lethal hunting behavior has made it an icon of desert wildlife. Number 4. Long Tom's Treasure. The legend of Long Tom's Treasure begins with Long Tom Watson, who in 1910 stumbled upon an abandoned cabin near the Grand Canyon where he found a set of old papers left by an unknown hand. These papers contained directions to a cache of gold, hidden away by outlaws behind a seasonal waterfall tucked deep within the canyon's vast, maze-like terrain. This tantalizing discovery spurred Watson's obsession with unearthing the treasure, launching him on a search that would consume him for years. Watson spent the next few years following the elusive clues he believed would lead him to the legendary cache. Finally, in 1914, he stumbled upon the waterfall described in the papers. Behind it, he discovered a hidden cave, and there, gleaming in the dim light, lay a trove of gold nuggets. Watson had found what he believed to be the treasure that so many had only dreamed about. But fortune's favor was fleeting. Just as he prepared to leave with his newfound wealth, he suffered a disastrous fall, breaking his leg. Alone in the canyon and unable to carry the gold, Watson was forced to abandon the treasure, dragging himself back to safety at a nearby ranch where he eventually recovered. Despite his survival, the tale did not end in triumph. Once healed, Watson returned to the canyon. He could not retrace his steps to the waterfall, and each attempt led him further into despair and frustration. The once found, now lost treasure eluded him, slipping back into legend. Over the years, Watson's story spread, inspiring a legacy of treasure hunters and adventurers, all lured by the promise of riches hidden in the canyon's depths. But it's not just treasure. The canyon also houses its fair share of dangers. Number 3. The Gila Monster. The Gila Monster is an extraordinary and unique inhabitant of North America, recognized as one of the only two venomous lizard species in the world, alongside the Mexican beaded lizard. This striking creature captivates with its bold coloration. It features a mesmerizing mosaic of black interspersed with vibrant pink or orange bead-like scales. These colors act as both camouflage and a vivid warning to predators about the lizard's potent bite. Measuring between 18 to 22 inches, the Gila Monster is stocky and slow-moving, often misunderstood due to its fearsome appearance and centuries of legends surrounding it. Yet despite its reputation, the Gila Monster is generally reclusive and spends most of its time sheltered in burrows to escape the desert's intense heat. It has developed a survival strategy to endure long stretches without food, storing fat reserves in its tail to sustain it during lean periods. This adaptation makes it especially resilient, allowing it to go weeks or even months without a meal. The Gila Monster's venom, which flows through grooves in its teeth rather than traditional fangs, is primarily used to immobilize prey like small mammals, birds, and eggs. Despite this potent venom, Gila monsters are not aggressive toward humans. Interestingly, their venom has proven beneficial beyond their own survival. Exenatide, a compound derived from Gila monster venom, has been used to treat type 2 diabetes by helping regulate blood sugar levels. Throughout history, the Gila monster has been a source of fascination and fear, with local folklore once attributing it to exaggerated abilities, such as possessing a deadly breath or inflicting mortal wounds with a mere touch. However, science has demystified these myths, showcasing the Gila monster as an integral part of its ecosystem. By preying on various small creatures, it helps maintain balance in the food chain. Number 2. Bone-chilling sign. Crossing the Grand Canyon from rim to rim is one of the most physically and mentally demanding challenges in the world. This grueling trek spans approximately 24 miles and involves a steep descent of over 6,000 feet into the canyon's depths, followed by a relentless climb to the opposite rim. The hike is particularly notorious for the harsh conditions that hikers face, with temperatures often soaring well above 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the canyon's basin, making the climb feel like an unforgiving furnace. On the ascent, hikers must navigate grueling switchback, including the notorious Devil's Corkscrew on the Bright Angel Trail, which only adds to the challenge. The combination of extreme elevation changes and the exhausting terrain makes this one of the most strenuous hikes in the United States. But the difficulty doesn't end with the sheer physical toll. The Grand Canyon's weather is notoriously unpredictable, amplifying the peril of the hike. While the summer months bring sweltering heat, winter can bring sudden snowstorms, creating a volatile and often hazardous environment for hikers. This means that those attempting the trek must be fully prepared to face rapidly changing conditions. Water is another critical concern. Some trails, such as the South Kaibab Trail, offer no water sources along the route, which means hikers must carry their own supply, often in large quantities, which adds to the weight of their packs. It's no surprise then that a particular sign found in the Grand Canyon has earned a reputation for its chilling advice. Spotted by a hiker, the sign warns visitors that, in the face of the canyon's harsh and unpredictable nature, it's better to underestimate your abilities than to overestimate them. The message is clear. If you think you might not be ready to conquer the canyon, it's better not to attempt it at all. With just a hint of doubt, the Grand Canyon can easily transform from a breathtaking adventure into a fight for survival. Better safe than sorry, right? But speaking of the Grand Canyon's reputation, do you know how old is it? Let's find out. Number 1. The real age of the Grand Canyon. For centuries, researchers have debated the true age of the Grand Canyon, with estimates fluctuating between 5 to 6 million years and as much as 70 million years. However, recent discoveries have uncovered an astonishing truth. The Grand Canyon is both much older and much younger than we previously thought. The canyon's formation is not the result of a single event, but rather a series of processes that span vast periods of time. The Grand Canyon, as we know it today, is a patchwork of different canyons that were gradually stitched together by the relentless flow of the Colorado River. Parts of the canyon, such as the eastern segments, date back between 15 to 25 million years, while other sections like Marble Canyon and the western portions of the Grand Canyon were shaped far more recently, only about 5 to 6 million years ago. While some parts of the canyon were already ancient, existing when dinosaurs roamed the Earth, the modern structure of the Grand Canyon only took its present form relatively recently. The older segments of the canyon were shaped by ancient rivers tens of millions of years ago, while the Colorado River carved the more recent sections. Surprisingly, despite the canyon's age, no dinosaur fossils have been found within its layers. This is likely because newer rock formations have been deposited over older strata that would have once contained fossils, effectively concealing any evidence of prehistoric life. The canyon itself, scientists now believe, likely didn't take its current form until after the dinosaurs had vanished. Though the Grand Canyon has been evolving for millions of years, it is a relatively recent feature on the geological scale. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new upload. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.